Like I've said before, your work truly inspires me, and I genuinely hope all those who take out their time today and join us greatly benefit from it. I also want to genuinely thank everyone who joined and contributed to our cause. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, Devyani. I appreciate it. Hi, all. My name is Akand Sitra. As Devyani said, that I graduated from IIT Madras and ISB. A little more introduction about myself. After graduating from IIT Madras, I joined the government of India with the Ministry of Home Affairs. I was posted as an assistant central intelligence officer for 3 to 4 years, where I was working with the dark web. In the cyber cell divisions, we were trying to, catch hold of criminals. We were trying to catch hold of people who perform money laundering, terrorist financing, who are buying drugs, etc., on the dark web. And we used to perform that. And what I realized was most of the interactions, illegal stuff like buying drugs, buying arms, etc., used to happen over cryptocurrencies. At that time, back in 2015, 16, it used to be Bitcoin. And that is when I started learning more and more about what Bitcoin is, what cryptocurrency is, what blockchain technology is. And I was amazed. It was an amazing technology which was being used for the wrongful purposes back in those days. So I started reading more and more on Bitcoin, on cryptocurrencies, and then I got myself into it full time, not from a trading perspective, but more from a regulations perspective, more from a technology perspective, more from a how do we solve crypto-based crimes perspective. So after that, I moved from the public sector to the private sector. I did my MBA from the Indian School of Business, Hyderabad, in finance and marketing and entrepreneurship. Now I currently lead the business strategy team of TRM Labs. So TRM Labs, as Devyani rightly said, it's a blockchain analytics firm. It is based out of San Francisco. I currently lead their Asia, Africa, and European markets and regions. So what we do is we try to reduce crypto-based crimes. So I'll share a small presentation on what cryptocurrencies are. Let's go from the starting. What is the use case that they're trying to solve? What are the different kinds of issues that happen with it? How do we ensure that nothing illegal happens? How do we perform regulations, etc.? So let me just share my screen. Devyan, it says that it's disabled for me. Can I just enable that?
Yes, I'll just give you the permission.
Absolutely. And guys, I'd like to keep this as interactive as possible. Feel free to ask questions. Feel free to unmute yourselves. Feel free to put on any questions you have in the text box, in the chat box. We'll try to answer any questions that you have based on blockchains, based on non-fungible tokens, based on stable coins, cryptocurrencies, whatever you have. We can have a lively discussion. Yeah, it's Deven, let me know if the screen is visible.
Yes, perfect. It's visible.
Beautiful. So the topic that I thought will be ideal for this discussion is, we'll start from the scratch. What is crypto? How do we adopt it? What is risk management? How do we ensure that we are taking good risk-based approaches before we indulge ourselves into crypto? And what are the regulations which are coming up? Right now, in India, at least, it's a completely unregulated environment. But the Financial Action Task Force, the US FinCEN, everybody's trying to regulate the entire industry by bringing in laws, by bringing in rules and regulations. We'll try to discuss them all. Feel free to ping me at any time if you have any questions. So what TRM Labs does is, we've been helping law enforcement agencies, we've been helping crypto-based exchanges to investigate, to perform forensics, to solve crypto-based crimes, to see the financial flows of funds, to prevent financial frauds, to combat money laundering, terrorist financing, dark web transactions, trade in human trafficking, whatnot. So our mission is very simple. We want to prevent all kinds of cryptocurrency-based frauds. We want to prevent all kinds of financial crimes. We have been giving training sessions to law enforcement agencies across the world. In India, we trained almost 25 different agencies in the last 6 months, 1 year. So this includes all the federal agencies such as the CBI, such as the IB, such as the I4C, Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, also state police like Karnataka Police, Madhya Pradesh Police, Delhi Police, etc. So the law enforcement agencies look at it from a risk management perspective. How do we reduce crypto crimes? So we help them by providing them with tools, with expertise, with our own internal products that we have, where we can investigate the entire crypto-based crimes. So when I was with the IB, with the Intelligence Bureau, I used to do this on a day-on-day basis. Now I'll come back to the private sector and I do this on a day-on-day basis again. But let's start from the very beginning. Let's start from how it all started. Let's start from the very, very basics. So it all started in the year 2008. In the year 2008, this anonymous person called Satoshi Nakamoto, we don't know who he is or who he or she is. Satoshi Nakamoto brought out this white paper called the Bitcoin white paper. So those of you who don't know what a white paper is, a white paper is like a research paper where anybody can just jot down their thought processes, write about what the concept that they have, talk about their own new concept. So Satoshi Nakamoto brought out the Bitcoin white paper. He was the paper is just 8 pages long. I urge all of you to go through it. 8 pages, extremely pinpoint, scientific and technical in nature. He says that he wants to bring a new financial system which will be peer-to-peer. That is from person A to person B. It will be from peer-to-peer, and it would be an electronic cash system. So this one line is extremely important. Now, just to understand the implications of this, what does he mean by peer-to-peer? For that, we need to understand how the current financial system works. In the current financial system works, say if I want to send 100 rupees to someone, or say Devyani wants to send 100 rupees to me, the rupees is printed by a central bank. So it's not peer-to-peer. There is a central bank mediated value provider. And say maybe she uses Google Pay, I might use Phone Pay. There are 2 more providers. And maybe she uses Bank of Baroda, I might use State Bank of India. 2 more providers. So just a value transaction between Devyani and I will not be just between the 2 of us. It will be between a third-party provider, a bank, a retail bank, a central bank, which actually gives you the currency, and then 2 other banks. So 5 intermediaries come between A and B. So in a peer-to-peer perspective, what Satoshi says that we can remove these intermediaries. Why? I'll tell you. But before that, the definition of peer-to-peer is we don't need a central bank to perform this transaction exchange. You don't need a third-party intermediary. So it's a peer-to-peer one. And it is electronic. It is all digital. It is all based on a network. It is similar to cash because a cash is supposedly anonymous. Today, if somebody gives me 100 rupees, I don't know to whom that 100 rupees belongs to. In the similar way, Bitcoin is also supposed to be anonymous. So when Satoshi Nakamoto brought in this paper in the year 2008, he wanted to create a cash system with no intermediaries. Why? The year 2008 becomes very important. So 2008 was the year of the global financial crisis. So I'm not sure how many of you remember around 12, 13 years ago, there was this huge global financial crisis because of the subprime mortgage crisis back in the US. A lot of large banks took bad loans and the banks crashed, the Lehman Brothers and whatnot, and the entire financial system of the entire world crashed. But the central banks of a lot of different countries started bailing them out. So in Satoshi Nakamoto's point of view, in the cryptographer's point of view, they were using taxpayers' money to bail out private banks, and these private banks used that money to give themselves bonuses. So this was extremely shocking to most of the common public. You take tax from me, you cut 30% tax and you take it from me, and then you give it to this profitable private banks who are profiting from the entire financial crisis. That showed how powerful the intermediaries can be. So Satoshi, in his first Genesis block, of Bitcoin, that is the first block of Bitcoin, he embedded this newspaper article saying that this is the reason why he is bringing Bitcoin. The reason is that the chancellors of any countries, it could be UK, US, India, they are using public money, yours and my money, to bail out private banks. And that is not all right. So what they've done is, the money financial system is in your hands, which is why you're able to do this. No, we'll take it back into our hands. And that is one of the first reasons why they thought that we'll have a peer-to-peer electronic cash system without any third intermediary. Second, and most importantly, the inflation causes. Right now, a dollar or a rupee is printed by a central bank. So they can print as much as possible. So there's a supply, there's a demand. The supply-demand dynamics will ensure the value of the underlying asset. So if the supply is too much and the demand is too less, the value will drop. If the supply is too less and the demand is too high, the value will increase. This is true for anything. For example, if you take shoes, if there are 100 shoes and there are 1,000 people, the price of the shoes will increase. But if there are 1,000 shoes and only 10 people, the price of the shoes will fall rapidly. So from a demand supply perspective, when a central bank prints as much money as possible, as much currency as possible, the demand will remain the same. The population is the same. The supply will keep increasing, which is why the value of the currency will fall rapidly. Just to give you a practical example, 10 years ago, say 100 rupees could have bought many more items than what you can buy today. The value of the items are the same, you and I are the same. The value of the currency has deteriorated. It's called inflation. You are debasing the value of the currency. It's a deflation, it's a devaluation perspective. So that made a lot of issues amongst the common public. So imagine I might have 1,000 rupees in the year 1970. I saved that 1,000 rupees thinking that 20, 30 years later I can use that. But 20, 30 years later, when I take the 1,000 rupees, it's not the same. In 1970, I could have bought a huge, a lot of stuff. But today, you can't buy much with it. So the point is, we don't need an inflationary currency value which will affect the entire population, and that solely rests with the central bank. So what Bitcoin Satoshi Nakamoto did was, he brought a new financial system where the supply would be constant. The supply of the currency would be constant. The demand will be increasing. That means the value of the currency will keep increasing. So the purchasing power of the consumer dollar rapidly falls down, whereas the purchasing power of the Bitcoin will rise as long as there is demand. So that is another strong concept, that the money that I hold right now is constantly losing value. Rather, I would hold the money which will constantly increase value. So there's an inflationary versus deflationary concept over here, which he tend to bring in. I won't say whether he was right or he was wrong. This was his perspective, why he brought out Bitcoin. And the traditional financial system is a centralized system. There is one bank which sends money to everybody else. Whereas the Bitcoin system is a decentralized system. So in a decentralized mechanism, everybody, hosts, nodes, will get in the technical parts later. It's a decentralized mechanism where not one person is in charge. Based on those concepts, people have started bringing in their own thousands and hundreds and thousands, lakhs of cryptocurrencies. Right now, today, we have Bitcoin, we have Bitcoin Cash, Cardano, Celo, Cosmos, Dash, Dogecoin, Ethereum, whatnot. There are a lot of decentralized finance tokens, Uniswap, RapBTC, Aave, DAI, a lot of stable coins. We'll get into what all these are, exactly in the upcoming slides. USD coin, Tether, True USD, etc. So the concept was amazing that a lot of replication started happening, and we have lots of cryptocurrencies. The best part is you can create your own cryptocurrency. I just created an Akand Sitra coin saying that you get so much amount is there, you can issue it, you can do whatever you want. So you can create your own cryptocurrency. If there's enough value, the demand will increase. But why? What are the applications? What are the virtual currency applications? The first application that Satoshi intended was to be a store of value. As I was saying, a store of value, something will get value only when there is scarcity. When there is a cap on supply, then people's demand will drive the value up. It is similar to what gold is. Today, gold is capped. You can't really mine a lot of gold without undergoing all the costs. Gold, I think it's around 30,000 tons across the world. Now, because the value of gold, the supply of gold is capped, it is seen as a store of value. Today, if I buy, say, 1 kg of gold, I can be assured that the price will increase in the future because the supply is capped. In the same way, Bitcoin is seen as a store of value, which is why people invest into it, because the supply of Bitcoin is capped at 21 million. There will be only 21 million Bitcoin across the world, and the demand for it will keep on increasing. Today, some 100 million people might be in Bitcoin. Tomorrow, it could be 1 billion, it could be 5 billion, whatever. So the value will keep on increasing. So Satoshi thought of it from a store of value perspective. Second, from a medium of exchange perspective. If I want to exchange my value for, say, goods and services, today you use a government issued money, rupee, dollar, yen, yuan, whatever. In the same way, you can use a payment mechanism such as Bitcoin as a medium of exchange, as a payment. So if you want to buy, say, a water bottle, or you want to get a service such as you want to hire an IT analyst, you can pay them in cryptocurrency. This is what one of the other applications was, payment application. One other application which came up with Ethereum was decentralized finance, DeFi. So decentralized finance is extremely straightforward. So today, what is finance? Finance is, yes. Is there a question? Okay. So what is finance? It could be, say, I want to borrow 1,000 rupees, or I want to loan 1,000 rupees. So what I do is I go to a bank, I deposit 1,000 rupees. The bank gives me 4% interest for my deposit, and that's a service. Or I want to take a loan. I go to the same bank, I take loan of 1,000 rupees, and I pay them 8% interest. Now, what is the bank's business model? So if you just take a step back and look at the bank's business model, what happens is they take money from depositors and they give that money to lenders. Okay. And they give that money to lenders. When there's this, how do I remove the scratch?
I'll just do this. Someone's making designs on your screen.
Yeah. So as I was saying, what is a bank's business model? A bank's business model is that they take depositors' money and they lend it to people, and they lend it to people at 8%, and they give depositors 4%. That 8% minus 4% delta, that 8 to 4% delta is the entire bank's profits. So if say I deposit 1,000 rupees and I get 4%, and that 1,000 rupees is given to somebody else and they take 8%, that 8 minus 4 is what bank's entire profit is. That is a profitability. That is where they have all the expenses. They give all the employees their salaries. They put it. Yeah, it's gone. Thank you. And they put in. They invest in bank branches. All those infrastructure. All that happens within that delta. 8% minus 4%. That is a centralized financial model. Think about a decentralized financial model where there is no third party, such as a bank. There is a decentralized platform where you deposit 1,000 rupees, you don't get 4% interest. Rather, you get, say, 6% interest because there's no intermediary. And somebody takes a loan from that 1,000 rupees corpus, and they won't pay 8% interest. They'll pay only 6% because there's no intermediary. So if you remove the intermediary, if you remove their own internal profits, if you remove all that, banks roll out of it, the users will get back the money. So instead of 4% and 8%, it will be 6% and 6%. Now that is where the users help themselves instead of giving it to as a transaction fee to a third party. Now, that's what a peer-to-peer decentralized finance is thought of. And a lot of such business models are coming into fruition these days. So some of the applications that Satoshi Nakamoto thought was as a store of value, as a medium of exchange, as a DeFi protocol, and whatnot. But how about the growth of it? So just to look at the growth of it, if you look at the Bitcoin ATM growth, you'll be able to see that a lot of Bitcoin ATMs are coming up in a lot of places. Now, why is this important? For this, let's try to understand how does a normal ATM work. A normal ATM machine is there. That ATM machine is in a secure room. It has cash in it, so there has to be a security guard outside. And that if the cash gets replenished, a bank they go every 2-3 weeks. They fill that ATM machine back in the cash. So if you look at the expenses of an ATM machine, you have to ensure that there is enough security. You have to keep on replenishing cash. There should be an AC room. There should be a security guard outside. You have to pay rent for the entire space that you have taken. A lot of expenses. Think of a Bitcoin ATM. There are no Bitcoin. You don't need to replenish. It's just a machine with a scanner. You scan your phone code, you deposit money into it, and then they deposit into your phone's wallet. So in a Bitcoin ATM, there is no cash to be handled. So there is no frequent visits from the bank. Since there is no cash, there is no security guard also. You don't need an AC room. It becomes much cheaper to have a Bitcoin ATM than a cash-based ATM from an expenses perspective. And the numbers are rapidly increasing as well. The users are also increasing rapidly. So on the left, there's a small graph which shows the internet users growth and crypto users growth. The red line is the internet users growth in its first 7 years. So 80s or 90s when the internet started, 1990s or something, the users kept on rapidly increasing, as you can see on the red line. In a similar path, you can see the increase of crypto users as well. And after year 5, year 6, you can see that the crypto users are growing faster than the internet users. So there is a lot of usage of crypto on par with internet's growth itself. If you look at absolute numbers, Bitcoin was the white paper came in 2008. It was invented in 2009. People started trading in the year 2013. So 2015, there were 3 million people. By 2018, it became 10x. Within 3 years, it became 35 million people. By 2020 December, last year December, it was over 100 million people. And just in 6 months, the number doubled. And today, this was still in July's number. Today's on October's number. This is almost touching 400 million users across the world. So it'll touch 1 billion users in another 3-4 years, perhaps. Let's see where this goes. So the adoption of crypto is rapidly increasing from a financial perspective and also from a trading and investment perspective. So how do we shift that value? How do we get into crypto? First and foremost, you can convert your value from fiat currency. Fiat currency is your government issued currency to cryptocurrency via some on-ramps. The easiest way is via an exchange. An exchange, you must know in stock markets, there's the NSE, there's the BSE, they are government regulated exchanges. In that, you exchange money for shares, for ownership of a company, for stocks. In a similar way, there are exchanges where you can exchange your money for cryptos. So that is one way of on-ramping, where you're converting your fiat value into crypto value. That is one way from an exchange perspective. There are multiple ways. You can mine, you can create your own cryptocurrencies by spending some energy. There are multiple ways. You can use Bitcoin ATM. You don't need to go to an exchange. You can go to an ATM machine, you deposit fiat, you get crypto. You are just transferring value from the real world to value to a virtual world. Online games, you could play games and earn some kind of crypto. There are payment applications, PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, all of them have started supporting payments applications where you can exchange your crypto for goods and services. You provide a good, you might get crypto in return. So that way you can on-ramp yourself. On-ramp is basically getting into the crypto world. And there are a lot of retailers as well. Nike, Tesla, Walmart, all these have started accepting cryptocurrencies as well. So that is how you on-ramp. On-ramp is converting your fiat currency into cryptocurrency. Off-ramp is converting your cryptocurrency to fiat currency. So there is this real world with your real notes, which you can convert into the digital tokens or cryptos, which these folks use as a middleman. The exchanges are a middleman between the real world and the virtual world, and that is how you can on ramp and off. So before getting into which exchange to use, you need to ensure that the exchange itself is safe and secure. Aditya Vikram Dhanuka has asked two questions. What are the exchanges where we can trade? A good question. What are the risks associated? So beautiful question, Aditya. We are coming into that part itself. So which exchange do you use? I won't give you names because I'm not affiliated with any exchange. But before you use any particular exchange, you need to ensure that the exchange itself is safe, secure, compliant from a legal perspective. First and foremost, they should perform KYC. KYC is your know your customer. They should know whom exactly they are dealing with in the exchange perspective. So before you choose an exchange, you ensure that the exchange does KYC. So you can be sure that all your peers in that exchange are known people. They are not terrorists. They're not black money launderers, or they're not somebody illegal. The exchange should have also tools for anti-money laundering, sanctions screening. Sanctions are people which the government says are blacklisted. So you need to ensure that the exchange screens for those people. You need to ensure that they perform anti-money laundering techniques. Fiat transaction monitoring. You need to ensure that the exchange has tools to perform transaction monitoring in the fiat world. Where is the money coming from? Somebody gives me $1 million. How do I know that $1 million is not black money? It is not terrorist money. It's not, say, drugs money. So you need to ensure that you have tools to perform this transaction. Crypto wallet screening and transaction monitoring, which is what we do at TRM Labs. We screen all the crypto wallets to ensure that nothing illegal happens. We monitor every single cryptocurrency transaction, every incoming transaction, every outgoing transaction to ensure that nothing illegal is happening. So you need to ensure that the exchange that you would want to use has these as well. Fraud prevention. There are a lot of companies, SIF, Simility, etc., which performs fraud prevention to ensure that the user's investor protection is extremely important. There's also market surveillance to ensure that they have mechanisms in place to have surveillance on the entire market. So Aditya, before you choose an exchange, there are many exchanges. There's Binance, Coinbase, WazirX, CoinD6, CoinSwitch, Kuber. So many exchanges are there. You take an exchange, say take Binance or WazirX or CoinD6, whatever exchange. You ensure that, okay, do they have KYC norms? Good. Do they have AML sanction screening? All this you can check on their website. Do they have a crypto compliance tool? Do they have fraud prevention tools? If they have all these tools, that means they are serious about investor protection. Since the industry is not regulated by a regulator, if I go to Bombay Stock Exchange, I can be sure that it is regulated by the SEBI, by the RBI, by the Ministry of Finance, etc. In the crypto world, there is no such regulator. You need to ensure that the exchanges regulate themselves. So to answer your first question, ensure that they have all these tools in place so that you can be assured that your money is safe and secure, that you are not trading with terrorist money or black money, laundered money, so that no law enforcement agency will come and catch you. This is one. Secondly, information security. You'd ensure that if you're buying some crypto on, say, WazirX, they have enough InfoSec tools in place to keep their entire exchange safe and secure. That is point one. What are the risks associated? As I told you, the crypto could be money laundered, it could be terrorist finance, it could be from a dark web, it could be from human trafficking, it could be drug money. it could be weapons money, it could be anything. It could be some hacker who is sending money to investors like you and I. It could be a scammer. It could be anything. So the risks are many. The exchange need to ensure that all these do. And most of the top exchanges do all this. WazirX does this. WazirX uses TRM Labs. Chainalysis is used by CoinSwitch. CoinDCX uses CoinFirm. So everybody uses these. So you can be assured that the top 3-4 companies are safe and secure. Yes, Aditya, I see you're unmuted. You have any question?
Yeah, I just wanted to understand what is the underlining for a crypto. Now as we spoke about physical cash or investing in an equity or a debt through an exchange, we know what the underlining is. But in case of crypto, the very basic concept, what is the underlining is sometimes very vague, and people tend to generalize that crypto is a bubble, it's gonna burst, etc., etc. So you are a subject matter expert. So if you can make it, if you can touch base those sides, what is an underlining for a crypto? How does it create value? So why a crypto value? Okay, a demand and the supply comes into play, but how does a value drive from that? So for example, gold. Gold has some tangible value, right? But then the demand is more, so then the tangible value tends to increase. Now,
Beautiful question.
how does that correlate with crypto? Because as a investor, okay, I know if something is selling for 500, I want to buy, and I know if I can sell it 700, I might even buy it 600. But then underlining needs to be driven, right? So I personally till date have not been able to understand that.
Got it.
Though I've never got deep into the subject, but if you can make this a bit clearer, the time would be worth it.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's a beautiful question. The question is simple. What is the intrinsic value? Simple, straight and forward. For that, let's take a step back. You said that gold has intrinsic value. The way I see it, gold is just a stone. It's just a metal. You give it intrinsic value because of your belief that that is valuable. So it's the belief that that particular stone has value because it is scarce, because other people value it. That is one. Secondly, what is a 100 rupee note? It's just a paper on which RBI says, I promise. So it is the belief in RBI that they will provide you with water value. To be honest, there is no intrinsic value to any kind of fiat currency as well. Fiat currency, people just print money. It's that you believe the government, you believe the central bank in giving you some kind of assurance in the fiat currency.
Correct.
Yeah, coming to the actual point. Now, what about cryptocurrencies? So the way you see it is from an investment perspective, from a trading perspective. The way I see it is from a protocol perspective. It's from a financial system perspective. So I won't tell you that it is a trading mechanism because for a stock will give you, say, cash flows. It has a company in the back end. There is a physical goods and services, all that happens. Bitcoin protocol is a blockchain technology protocol. 30 years ago, when the internet came up, what was internet? It is just a TCP IP protocol. It's a transmission commission protocol and an internet protocol. It's just a network of computers. So if you ask me what is the intrinsic value of internet, I won't be able to give you a cash flow based answer. There is no intrinsic, there is no hard perspective. So when you look at internet, it is a transmission commission protocol which connects all the networks. And based on that, you can build business models. Now, everything that you do, it could be a Zoom call like this, a class, an interaction, or it could be email sending, it could be information, it could be banks, it could be ordering food on Zomato. Everything is built on the protocol that is internet. So 30 years ago, if you tell me that, what is internet? I can't see it, I can't touch it, I can't, it's not like gold. I have to touch it, only then I will feel that there's an intrinsic value. There is no cash flow. If I invest in stocks because I know that I invest in Reliance stocks because Reliance has built some products. Internet doesn't do all that. So when you think of it from a technology perspective, you had telegraph in the past. You had telephones. Then the TCP/IP protocol came up. Then the Tor protocol came up, which gives you a privacy layer. Now there's a value layer which is coming up, which is the Bitcoin protocol. So again, cryptocurrency from an investment perspective, it's a demand supply game, which I won't comment on because I focus on the technology perspective. Why does it get value? because of its underlying blockchain technology. What is a blockchain? It is an immutable ledger which is decentralized. To give you another example, say you use Uber or you use Amazon. What is Uber, Amazon? They are middlemen. Uber is a middleman between users and cab drivers. Amazon is a middleman between buyers and sellers. Amazon is $1 trillion company because it is a middleman. It gets transaction fees from the buyers, it gets transaction fees from the sellers, and then it becomes itself $1 trillion company. In a decentralized format, when you build a decentralized application on the blockchain protocol, what happens is you can remove this middleman. So once you remove this middleman, that is what Ethereum does these days. On the Ethereum blockchain, I can book a cab without Uber's help, and a driver can get a customer without Uber's help. And the Uber's transaction fees, which it takes 5%, 10%, that money comes back to you and I. So you ask me, what is the value of cryptocurrency? The value of cryptocurrency is its underlying blockchain technology, which will disrupt every single industry which is built on a intermediary basis, which is built on a middleman, which is built where this transaction fees take place. What is Facebook? Facebook is the middleman between us and advertisers. They get money from advertisers and the advertisers show you advertisement. My question is, if I'm the one who's seeing an advertisement, shouldn't I be the one who gets paid for that? Why is Facebook getting paid? Which is why a Brave browser has come up, which is a decentralized blockchain-based application where the advertisers pay money directly to you and you look at the advertisement. So you're earning money on that. That earning money is in a crypto base. So right now, when you just look at it from a profit loss perspective, price going up and perspective, which is a very, very narrow, shallow perspective to look at a technology, it is like saying Google's share is $1,000 today, Google's share is $900 tomorrow. Does not mean that Google is not is a company which has no other products. You use Google as a search engine, you use for maps, you use for Drive, you use for documents, you use it for, from a use case perspective, there are many things, but you're only focusing on Google's share price. In the same way, it's like you're focusing on Bitcoin's share price, but you're not looking at the use case that the Bitcoin itself is trying to solve. It is trying to solve the financial structure. It is trying to solve disrupting the entire intermediary-based companies. It is trying to bring billions, it is trying to bring thousands of different kinds of business models. All that will be apparent to you 20, 30 years down the line. It's like having a discussion on the internet in the 70s or 80s. If I tell you that, let's go back to 1980, you'll be able to sit in a room and then you'll be able to interact with 100 people across the country. You won't believe me if it was 1980, right? But in 2020, that is the truth. We are doing it right now. In a similar way, 30 years later, when the Bitcoin protocol, when the blockchain technology is being used for building decentralized applications across industries, you will then realize that, yes, this has been obvious so long. Why haven't I realized that? So the best part, the easiest way is to read more on it. Don't think it from a trading perspective. I don't even look at the price point. It's like I invest in a company so that I can sell it tomorrow for 10 rupees profit. That is not the point of cryptocurrency blockchain. The point is the technology protocol itself is so revolutionary that people want to get into it to make money. That is different. As you rightly said, stocks, gold, Bitcoin are asset classes, are investment classes. I don't look at it from that point. I look at it from a legal tender perspective. I look at it from a decentralization application perspective, DeFi protocols perspective. If tomorrow DeFi, decentralized finance, takes place, you will disrupt the entire banking industry. You will be disrupting the environment, entire investment banking industry. That kind of potential, even if it's on paper, the concept is so clear, it is so revolutionary that you will tend to start believing more on that. So yeah, I suggest I'll give you a few books to read on, a few articles to read on. To be honest, Aditya, right now, some of the smartest folks in the world, some of the smartest engineers, some of the smartest coders, everybody is working on some kind of crypto blockchain based
Correct.
industry. Not because they'll make money out of it. Satoshi, if you just read the white paper itself, it is so technically nuanced. If you can't imagine that somebody that smart, not just in one country, in multiple countries. If you go to Russia, if you go to US, if you go to China, everybody's working on a central bank digital currency. Everybody's working on a stable coin. Everybody's working on a cryptocurrency. Not because they want to make money, no. Not because they want to make a scam. They want to create a scam, no. Because they believe in the underlying technology. One use case of that underlying technology is from an investment perspective. That is because there is volatility. The price is up, the price is low, the price is up, the price is low, which is why based on those price changes, you tend to make a profit. That is a very, very, very small use case that everybody's focusing on right now.
Exactly.
Today, yeah,
that was the point, because blockchain is a no-brainer. The way you are saying it's going to remove the intermediaries, it's a no-brainer. But the point is, when we start using it as a medium of exchange and we're trying to replace it with a structured banking system, so that is the pain point. What I feel is, something that needs to be looked into.
Absolutely. We completely agree on this.
Because for a bank, we have an RBI, we have a lot of regulators looking into the play. But in case of blockchain, there is no organized mechanism that is having a very close watch, and that too at a global scale.
That is the point that we want to solve. We don't want a third-party intermediary to look into it. See, it's like, it is, if I want to send an email to you, I don't want the postal department to look into it. In the same way, if I want to send you 10 rupees, I don't want the finance ministry to look into it. Right now, that's what's happening, right? 30 years ago, if I want to send an email letter to you, I have to write a post, I have to write a telegraph, I have to go to the postal department, then they send it to you. What did the internet do? The internet made a peer-to-peer information exchange.
True.
So the postal department is completely useless right now. 30 years down the line, SEBI, RBI will be completely useless because the information has become peer-to-peer right now, and you can see that. Value will also become peer-to-peer, and you don't need a government body to get into it. If the underlying technology itself is trustless, if you are able to trust the underlying technology, you don't need a third party coming and telling you that, okay, this is good, this is bad, these are the rules, these are the regulations. You're again trying to bring in the postal department to regulate the internet. You can't ask Gmail to be, regulated by the postal department of India or US. Right? It's a global mechanism. In a similar way, we're trying to build the crypto world also in the same way, without a third-party intermediary, because the third-party intermediaries cannot be trusted, which was the first slide that I had, where they used our money, to bail out banks, private banks. A lot of stories are there on that, but yeah, it's a long discussion. We have under 15 minutes left, so any other questions? Anybody, guys? We can discuss. It's a very interesting discussion. Cool. So yeah, now to answer Aditya's question, how do we mitigate risk? How do we, first of all, what are the risks? So I'll try to get into that picture. There are a few slides which I'll skip, and will focus more on the risk factors, because that is extremely important. So yeah, you were saying about regulators, right? There are a lot of regulators already. There is a Financial Action Task Force, which is trying to build in regulations. All this work at a global level. It is, again, one of the other issue that I have with a fiat currency is that today, if you're in, say, Germany, I'm in, say, Kenya, I can send you an email using any platform, Gmail, Yahoo, whatever. But I cannot use Indian rupees, because if you're in Germany, you'll be using German ruble. I'll be using Kenyan, some whatever currency I have. These are jurisdiction specific. These are country specific. You can't really get out of it. You can't build a global, integrated environment with hundreds of different currencies. If tomorrow, if I want to send a letter to you sitting anywhere across the world, I should be able to do it within seconds, which is what a global monetary system also does. For that, as you rightly pointed out, there are a lot of global organizations as well which are working on that. Not just from a crypto perspective, from a non-fungible token perspective. I'll skip all this. We'll focus on the issues that we have. The first and foremost issue right now to solve is money laundering. So in the fiat world, the money laundering happens in a very tough way. You either have to go through a Hawala route, or you have to set up a company in Cayman Islands, and you have to put all your black money there, bring out profits as white money. In the crypto world, it's very, very easy. You just open an unhosted node, you put in your black money, and then suddenly go to an exchange, you withdraw it, it becomes clean money. Now, that is one of the biggest issues that we have. Today, almost $10 billion worth of money laundered money that we know of. Unknown, it could be 10x, 20x, 30x, we don't know. So $10 billion of illegal money came through cryptocurrencies, which is what we are trying to focus on. Yes, there are a lot of issues, and each issue should be solved so that the underlying technology becomes safe and secure. There is terrorist financing. Now, this is a Mujahideen in Syria terrorist organization, which is asking for financial funds. They're asking us to send money, send crypto to this Bitcoin address. Anybody across the world, anywhere, if they're sympathetic to these causes, they send cryptocurrencies. Now, that is a big issue. So terrorist financing is another big risk that we have. Drug trafficking. This is on the dark web, on the Onion browser. They're saying that they are going to sell sugar wax, terp sauce, live resin. All these are cocaine, heroin, etc. for $40 per gram, $50 per gram. You just send that Bitcoin to this Bitcoin address, and I will courier the drugs to you. This is very apparent in Europe. So drug trafficking is very extremely serious these days. Identity frauds. Somebody steals my bank account, passport details, INT proofs, and they're asking me to make payments for this. Ransomware. Somebody kidnaps a minister's daughter, and they say that you pay us 10 Bitcoin and will release the daughter to you. So a lot of issues are there. Credit card frauds. But the beautiful part of this is tracing cryptocurrency is very, very easy because of its underlying blockchain technology. So I think you rightly point out, blockchain is a no-brainer. It is a chain of block. It is a chain of block of transactions. So every single transaction is there for everybody to check. So tracing cryptocurrency becomes extremely easy. So if one person sends some money to the other person, you'll be able to trace them. You'll be able to see where the money is coming from. You'll be able to see the entire flow of funds, which is not possible in fiat currency if you use cash. Today, I might have 100 rupee cash in my pocket. I can't open and say that who had before me, or who had it before me, or who had it 5 hops before me, right? In crypto, you can do that. In cryptocurrency, that is the whole point. Blockchain is that you can be assured that the crypto that you're handling is coming from good sources. So what do? We do that. We analyze the entire public blockchain data, all raw data. The raw data looks like this. There's a transaction hash. There are various addresses that this alphanumeric address is like a bank account for you. This is what a crypto wallet address is. We analyze this. We simplify it. We link these addresses to fraud and financial crimes. And once we link it, for example, this Bitcoin address, we know it belongs to Syria, Mujahideen, Al-Qaeda, because the themselves are saying it. So what we do is, in our software, we put up this and we link it, we give it a tag, terrorist financing. So now we are assured that whatever money comes out of this address or whatever money goes into this address is illegal. And we call it high risk deposit address. So if, say, Binance gets funds from these, we immediately ping Binance and say that this is illegal, and they freeze those funds. So that is we are trying to secure the entire financial sector by de-anonymizing the entire blockchain data. This I know belongs to dark web. So we try to give labels, give names to all the blockchain addresses that there is, from where we'll know which is illegal, which is not illegal. So once we link the addresses, we follow the money on the blockchain. So on the blockchain, following money is very, very easy. You can't do that in fiat currency. Once you see where the funds are going, We try to detect suspicious patterns. We try to detect suspicious illegal stuff in real time. And all the law enforcement agencies, all the exchanges, all the financial institutions, they use our platforms to find out whether the crypto that they are getting it is coming from an illegal source or not. So what they do is they monitor every single incoming transaction, every single outgoing transaction, every single crypto that is there in their ecosystem continuously to ensure that it is not coming from any of these illegal, illicit sources. If by mistake they get, say, $10 from an illegal source, they investigate. They trace the entire flow of funds. They see where the funds are coming from, where the funds are going to, where the funds are coming from. Absolutely. AI has a very big role to play. All these are machine learning based technologies. All these are artificial intelligence because there are billions of addresses. You can't manually trace all of them. Everything is a ML based model. Everything is AI based automated model. So you automate the monitoring process. If a risk comes up, you investigate it, and then you report it to the right authority, saying that, okay, this crypto from this address comes from, say, terrorist financing, let the CBI know. So you create your suspicious activity reports, suspicious transaction reports, and whatnot. So for that also, bad actors are doing something called chain hopping. So say I have $10,000 of black money with me. I convert into Bitcoin first. From Bitcoin, I jump to Ethereum. Then I jump to Tron. Then I jump to Cardano. Then I cash out. Now that is a serious issue that we are trying to solve. Privacy-based technologies, Monero, whatnot. A lot of privacy-based technologies are there. Programmatic money laundering. Now this is a very huge issue. As I told you, money laundering in the real world is very tough. You need to build companies, to clean all the money. If you're a coder, you just write a small script, a small program, a small code, and within 10 to 15 minutes, you can, convert all your black money into white money by just using hundreds of transactions and thousands of addresses. Very, very simple to perform programmatic money laundering. So there are a lot of risks, of course. And the programmatic money laundering is a huge data point issue as well. It is very complicated, which we are trying to solve to ensure that the entire blockchain space is safe and secure. And all of this is self-regulated. If a government agency comes and tries to regulate it, it becomes slower, to be honest, because governments are not that efficient. So you tend to automatically detect any kind of illegal activity which happens, any kind of illegal issues which happen, etc. I see that we have 5 minutes more left. If you have any questions or any doubts, feel free to ping me. There are a lot of slides. We can keep on going through that. Cool. So blockchain analytics is a new and upcoming industry which is trying to solve all these use cases. So what we can do is we can perform linkability. Who is behind a wallet address? Is it a legal person or illegal person? We can perform linkability to connect real world entities to virtual wallet addresses. So once you connect that, you can be assured that where is the money coming from. Traceability. You can trace the entire flow of funds right from A to B. You can see where the funds are coming from, where the funds are going to, and whatnot. And also you can perform pattern recognition, AI ML based signature monitoring, where you can automate the pattern activity which is suspicious in nature to give you alerts and pings. So that's what blockchain analytics does. And these days, not just Bitcoin. Till 2019, it was all a Bitcoin world. These days, as I told you, there are lakhs of cryptocurrencies. There's so many cryptocurrencies. In the Bitcoin era, there were just exchanges, darknet markets, etc. But these days, you have decentralized finance, you have non-fungible tokens, you have stable coins, you have these CBDC, central bank digital currencies, which are up and coming. You have DEXs, you have a lot of token swap machines and whatnot. The technology itself is exploring so rapidly that every day there's something new and upcoming which we need to keep keep up with, which we need to track from. So a lot of issues are there. As I told you, there are so many cryptocurrencies. Uniswap, which is a decentralized finance token, has its own issues. MakerDAO has its own issues. Stable coins have their own issues. Sometimes the stable coins are not backed by real world fiat currency. Before that, what is a stable coin? A stable coin is when you tag a cryptocurrency with its fiat currency, you perform something called a stable coin, where the volatility of the price will not fluctuate much. So there are a lot of issues, of course. Banks are getting into cryptocurrencies. How? For example, they themselves are taking on crypto exchanges as customers by providing them banking services, Signature Bank, Silvergate, etc. They themselves are providing crypto as an asset class, as an investment class, as a starting point. BNY Mellon, Morgan Stanley, and whatnot. They are launching their own stable coins and tokenized assets where they can issue new assets on their own private or permissioned blockchains, which is a huge deal coming up and coming. So I'll stop here. 3 minutes are there. A few ending statements. Blockchain technology is not just cryptocurrencies, as Aditya also rightly point out. It's a lot more. It's about disrupting entire industries. And according to a new survey, we see that blockchain-based skills. How do we code smart contracts? How do we perform, or how do you create your own permission blockchains? Those skills are going to be one of the biggest skills in this coming decade and the coming next 2 decades. So I request all of you guys to learn coding, to learn Solidity, C, C++, Java, whatever it is, because these skills are going to become extremely useful in the future. No matter what the naysayers say, no matter what they say, cryptocurrencies, blockchain, tokenized assets, metaverse, 3D, virtual reality, all these are going to integrate in the next 10, 20 years. So it's better to be ready to at least understand the basics and to be ready for the future. So Devyani, we have another 1-2 minutes. I thank you so much for letting me speak on blockchain, crypto, regulations, risk management. I thank the questions as well from Aditya and others who have asked some really good questions. All the best to Akand Foundation. This is a really good thing that you guys are doing. I'm extremely proud of what you guys are doing. This fundraiser, this 24 hours continuously working. I can see how organized you guys were, the organization skills that you guys are bringing into it. To organize such a huge continuous event is a lot of work. I appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for having me, Devyani.
Thank you so much for this lovely session. Your explanation was impeccable. I'm sure even our younger audience was able to understand such an important and complicated topic. I'm 15 years old and I was really intrigued by listening to what cryptocurrency is, and I'm sure I want to have a career, something related to it in future as well. So it was a privilege having you with us. I deeply, deeply thank you for so generously agreeing and willing to be a part of our initiative. Your contribution here will be always remembered by Kansh, and the various young women it will eventually empower. So like I've said, your LinkedIn posts really inspire me, and that's how I connected with you. So I hope
Thank you so much.
everyone who took out their time and joined in today greatly benefit from it. Thank you so